Hi, I'm Stephanie from the Simple Classroom, and today I want to teach you a lesson that I have used in my classroom for years, since I was a student teacher, I think. And this lesson incorporates both different types of sentences, which is a grammar standard in second grade a lot of the time, and also noticing punctuation when you read for fluency purposes. So you could use this lesson to incorporate both skills, or you could go one direction with it and focus on just that one thing. So I'm just going to teach you kind of what it looks like. I chose Mo Willems' Don't Let the Pigeon Drive the Bus because this book has a variety of sentences in it. So you can really illustrate all the different sentence types in one text. It's short, so it makes for a good read aloud. The kids are typically familiar with it, so comprehension isn't a big piece. Like there's not all this complex thinking that they have to do or vocabulary you have to preview. It's a book that you can just read. You can trust that they already know it. It's simple, but also it lends itself well to this set of skills. So whether you are teaching this to talk about different sentence types or you're teaching this from a fluency perspective, I always start the same way. I read the first couple of pages without any expression at all. So, hi, I'm the bus driver. Listen, I've got to leave for a little while, so can you watch things for me until I get back? Thanks. Oh, and remember, don't let the pigeon drive the bus. And then I pause and I'm like, are you guys excited about this book? Does that sound exciting? And then of course they're always like, no, that was boring. And you're like offended and you ask, why? Why was that boring? And they say, because your voice sounded boring, or because you were reading that all the same way, you sounded like a robot. And you go, oh, should I have read that differently? Let me try again. Hi, I'm the bus driver. Listen, I've got to leave for a little while, so can you watch things for me until I get back? Thanks. Oh, and remember, don't let the pigeon drive the bus. And then all of a sudden they're like, yeah, that was way better. I asked them why it was better. It leads us to a conversation of authors use different types of sentences, different punctuation marks in their text for a reason. They are conveying emotion with the punctuation marks that they choose. And then you could say, and so today we're going to be talking about the different types of punctuation marks that we see in a text and the types of sentences they represent. Or you could say, today we're going to talk about the different types of punctuation marks in a text and the way my voice changes for each one. Either way is fine. The way that I want my students, when just by listening without even looking, I don't even show them the book as I'm reading it until we've determined what type of sentence is on each page. The way that I want them to do this is by signaling to me what kind of sentence I just read. So if you're talking about types of sentences, you may have some academic vocabulary you're working in here, like statement, expository sentence, exclamatory sentence, declarative, question. It may just depend on the level and what your state mandates, I guess, as far as that vocabulary. But that's where I make an anchor chart of those 4 sentence types and then give them a symbol, a signal, I guess, hand signal to go with each one. If you're doing this just from a fluency perspective, you would talk to them about how my voice changes for each sentence type. Hopefully, if this is a second grade lesson, hopefully they already know words like question, exclamation. Maybe they already know that word. Maybe you've already taught sentence types and this is just a fluency lesson. But either way, introduce the academic vocabulary you want to use and then talk about the punctuation mark associated with it. And if it's for fluency, talk about how my voice would change. If it's a statement, then my voice is going to come to a full stop. So we're just going to use this hand signal to symbolize that sentence. If it's an interrogative statement or a question, my voice is going to rise up a little bit at the end to sound a little bit more confused and like you're wondering. And I'm going to use this gesture. Like you can make a confused face even. If it's exclamatory, it ends in an exclamation point. I'm going to be excited. So I'm going to use jazz hands. Excited, excited, excited. My voice is going to get louder and at a higher pitch when I'm excited. The author wants me to read it that way so that you as the listener know that the character in the story is excited. So it's important that I change my voice. If it's a command, it's going to sound a lot like a statement or declarative sentence. So it's going to come to a full stop. My voice will stop, but you might want to listen to the way that my voice sounds and the things that I'm saying because it may sound a little bossy. So if you hear something that sounds a little bossy, we're going to use this gesture. We practice. I make up 4 sentences like, I'm so excited for recess, or what time is lunch, or go to your seat, or today is Tuesday. Whatever the case may be. We practice with like 4 different sentences and then I get started. So I thought he'd never leave. And I let them all make their gesture. You know, most of the class is doing this. A few of the kids are looking around at the other kids to be like, what are we doing again? And then once we have a general consensus, then I show them this. I sometimes have a student in charge of making tallies on the anchor chart that I've made underneath each sentence type. So we can see what this book had the most of, for example. You don't always have to do that. It's not super necessary. Hey, can I drive the bus? And then I would point out, hear how my voice changed. Hear how that added variety. What if I had said, hey, can I drive the bus? Does that sound like I'm asking you a question? Is that how we talk in real life? So just lots of teachable moments in there with this one book because all 4 sentence types are represented. The command imperative is a little less common. I will say it's in here. And some of your smarty pants kids will be like, sometimes a question or sometimes an exclamatory sentence and an imperative sentence combine. Like it could be like let me drive the bus. So he's excited. He's saying it really excited, but he's also being bossy. He's telling you to let him do something. So that's a great conversation to have, that yes, an author has that right to combine those 2 sentences, to say something that is a command, but to say it in an excited way. And you have to choose which kind of punctuation mark makes the most sense to put here. It would depend on how the author wants you to read it. So, simple little lesson. I then have the kids take these hand gestures to one of my Fluency Center activities, which is the Punctuation Police. It's in my Fluency Center pack, but Punctuation Police is where the kids read to each other, but they hide the text. And the other one has to make the hand gestures based off of what they heard in the story, what types of sentences they heard. So that's a fun one to do, but it works best if you've already introduced a whole group and the kids have practiced it, because then it's a center that you don't have to teach. They already know how to do it. And I'm all about centers we don't have to teach because it frees us up for small group teaching. All right, so that's all I have for you guys today. I hope you found this helpful. Connect with me on Instagram and let me know if you plan to try this lesson, if you've done something similar, if you like the pigeon books, what other books you use for fluency practice or sentence types, and I will see you guys next time.